as far as Brock Purdy goes, let's talk a little bit about Brock Purdy for a second. You kind of jumped in. You sent me a text the other day, Ethan, about Brock Purdy, and you feel like that Brock Purdy, the people that attack Brock Purdy have gotten more aggressive than the people who are defending Brock Purdy. I just feel like at this point, you know what? Scoreboard, man. I mean, the guy's played 25 games. He's like, 21-4. I mean, it's like, scoreboard. It's like, and all these people like, well, he's got Shanahan. Well, he's got all these weapons. Well, guess what? Shanahan was here. The moment that Brock Purdy trotted on the field to replace Jimmy Garoppolo, all non-Jimmy Garoppolo quarterbacks under Shanahan with these exact same weapons were 9-29. And now this guy steps in as Mr. Irrelevant, and he's 21-4 with like 6 touchdowns and 1 interception in the playoffs, and a really good record both in the regular season and the playoffs. And he's like number 1 or 2 in almost every statistical category. So at this point, it's like, if you want to attack Brock Purdy, do it at your own loss of credibility, because I've said my piece. People know how I feel about this kid. I think he plays. Alex Smith said it the other day on the radio. It was on 95.7 The Game. He said, quarterbacking, you can talk about quarterbacking all day, every day, and all these different factors, and they all matter to some degree. But he said, ultimately, what it's really about, it's about accuracy, processing, and toughness. And that's what Brock Purdy has over everybody, is that he processes as fast as any quarterback in the game. His accuracy is rare. And even though he looks kind of narrow-shouldered and kind of small, if you're standing next to him, he's actually 6'1.5", 225 pounds, and kind of yoked up a little bit. And he plays the game with tremendous courage as defensive linemen are whizzing by him left and right. He stands strong in the pocket, lets his guys open up downfield. So to me, end of discussion. He's got the toughness. He's got the processing. He's got the accuracy. The ball comes out on time. He wins games. If to me, there's nothing, turn off the projector and go analyze another player, because you already know what this player is. That's how I see it. So at this point, I don't fight back too much on the Purdy stuff, just because it's like, hey, it's kind of speaks for itself in my mind.
Well, it's also, if you get, when I was young, I would defend the players I thought were underrated and being unfairly attacked. I'd get very passionate about it. But as you get older, you realize the career tells the tale. We'll see over time. You might disbelieve this guy, but if I believe in him, I think he's going to answer the bell. And over time, he's going to wear you down, and he's going to force you to concede some things. I saw it with Steph Curry. I'm not saying that Brock Purdy is Steph Curry, but there was this dismissal of Steph and this whole, he's not really doing what he's doing. He's not really a superstar. You can't really win that way. And people didn't expect him to become what he was, but he kept doing it for long enough that they had to admit it. Now, I'm so fascinated by the discussion around him. There's something crazy to me about it. I don't think I've seen a situation like this where the quarterback of the number 1 passing offense is dismissed by professional analysts and all kinds of other people as average or worse than average. Chris Sims ranks him at 17 among the quarterbacks. I mean, it doesn't make me angry. It's just bizarre. We don't really have this kind of thing happen in basketball. In basketball, if you are producing statistically, we give you a ranking commensurate with your production. They've carved out an exception with this guy, and I find that to be curious. Now, the dynamic that you mentioned, that I mentioned to you, that I find interesting is, have you guys noticed that the longer that this offseason goes, the further Brock Purdy slides down these rankings that come out? I just find it interesting.
Well, to doubt the guy, it's like an industry. I mean, the one that makes me shocked is all these guys like Chris Sims, who couldn't really play the game themselves, but as analysts, they have all the answers. Mm-hmm. I mean, it would be like the number 1 basketball analyst in the country is, Patrick McCaw or something like that. I mean, it's like, what? I mean,
I'm even okay
Les
with that.
Gibson is suddenly the number 1 analyst on NBC, even though he couldn't play at all. But you know what I'm saying? He's got all the answers.
I mean, I'm even okay with that because some people are really good at analyzing, and I think Cosell, for instance, does a great job breaking it down, and I can't picture that guy on a football field, right?
That's true. But I mean, that's true. That's true. And they're
but
different skill sets.
But I'm just making the observation because I just find it very interesting that the longer the offseason goes, the farther he falls. And I think it's because nobody's got an answer for it. Right. Because in season, if you're throwing out a take like this Sims
he's playing on Sunday and you're going to look bad on Monday.
Yeah. So, you can talk up everything you feel about how the strength and the size of Trevor Lawrence and everything. But if you actually have to account for your take and he's going to fumble like he often does, and you're going to have to live with that, then you're not going to be so brave and so bold with that kind of ranking. And you're not going to be so quick to dismiss the guy who most Sundays goes out and throws the most accurate ball in the game or near there. I mean, that's that I find interesting about it, is that he keeps sliding the longer this goes, and I'm fine with it. I'm very confident in him. You can call me a homer. I'm a believer. I've been a believer since he first walked in and did not look rattled. I don't think he gets credit for some of the elite qualities he has. I think he is a layerer, is what I would say, with the passes that he does. He layers those passes in a way that's uncommon. And damned, he did not look rattled in that Super Bowl in the fourth quarter at all. I'm a straight up believer. You can call me a homer. You can say whatever about it. And I just hope he stays healthy, because I think if he stays healthy, he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. And I've just got that kind of confidence in it. So, yeah, I'll be the Brock Purdy homer. I think more people, more analysts need to be as positive about him as you are, Larry, but I don't know if it's a Trey Lance hangover or what. There's still a lot of doubt out there, and I just don't get it.
Well, I think it's Jimmy Garoppolo and Colin Kaepernick. This fan base has seen two quarterbacks start fast and peter out, and that's happened recently. So there's that. Well, I like Jimmy. I bought a Jimmy jersey. I was all in on Jimmy, and then Jimmy discovered Jimmy couldn't play. I was all in on Cap. I loved Cap. We went to the Super Bowl. I bought a Cap jersey, and then we discovered that, Cap wasn't in the league anymore, and he couldn't do it, whatever. And then that's if your sample size is that small, then I'm sure you look at Purdy and be like, well, he's gotten off to a hot start, but let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. I will say this though. And I'm on the record of saying this. Tanner Mordecai. So here we go. We got this guy. Trey Lance Monday says Mordecai is going to shock the world. Tanner Mordecai is going to beat out Josh Dobbs and Brandon Allen as the number 2 quarterback for the 49ers.
That's a take.
Let me say
that's
this.
A take.
Let me say this. Though.
Very confident of that.
First and foremost, if you look at the history of football, though, certain quarterbacks mesh well with certain organizations. All right. So I think, you could follow that realm of thinking. We don't have anything else but to see Brock Purdy playing as a member of the 49ers. He's done extremely well. All right. Geography also matters. He plays in pretty good conditions to play quarterback. All right. That's another thing.
But he also played well at Iowa State in Ames, Iowa in the Big 12.
He did.
He led them to the Fiesta Bowl.
No, he had a solid career. He's also
and went 1-8 the first year he wasn't there.
He's also playing for an organization that is adamant about protecting their quarterback. He has a good offensive line. They protect him. Has the best offensive left tackle in the game in Trent Williams. So he's insulated well. He's played extremely good football. Right? There should be no doubt about what he's done on the football field. Now, the one thing that I'll say, Larry, listen to you a lot, I'm not so sure that he has to make $55 million a year. I mean, maybe 40. I don't think because I don't like the upheaval, all of the conversation around, his weapons, if you will. Certain people get paid, certain don't. I'm not skilled enough to evaluate positions, so on and so forth. But emotionally, I think it all matters. And I think they have a good thing now where Ayuk, Debo, the tight end, they all go out there trying to accomplish the same goals. But I think somehow that gets lost when organizations start to differentiate who gets paid and who doesn't get paid. So from Brock Purdy's perspective, I think he's in the perfect situation. And I don't think being in the perfect situation means that you need to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
I hope they can work out a deal. I hope they can work out a number that makes sense.